Hello everyone, Namaste. Myself Sneha Manjunath Patkar. I welcome all of you to today's a basic course on Satipatthana Sutta. So without wasting much time, I invite Satipatthana Master Mangesh sir. Welcome sir and hand over this program to you. Thank you sir. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sneha Madam there. And good morning to all of you. I hope you are all well and practicing our Anapanasati regularly. And I hope that you have also been reading the Satipatthana Sutta, which is sort of, as I have been talking in the previous classes, it's a complete manual all the way up to Nirvana. And Dhyanacharya Nagajiva has recommended reading and the practice of the sutta very much. So I hope that we all are following the instructions that have been given to us by Venerable Nagajiva. So from last 4 classes in this course on the foundation of Sati, we have been studying the awareness of body, the mindfulness of body, or paying attention to our body. And we have covered the first sort of the 4 foundations, the foundation of awareness related to the body. And we have seen quite extensively as to how the awareness is practiced, from the counting of breathing all the way up to the contemplation of the impurities of the body. Because it's very, very important for all of us to understand the nature of the body, as to how the body is full of impurities. And when we, in our meditations, when we scan our body, we begin to see the various organs of the body, the anatomy of the body. And then we go a step further, trying to be aware of the nature of the body as it is. And we begin to see that the body has the nature of impurities. And we can understand that our attachment to the body is so much that it gives rise to a lot of what is called suffering or the dukkha. Therefore, in our tradition, it is recommended that we should cultivate a very deep awareness or a very profound awareness of body. And that was technically called Kaya Nupassana. So in this class today, we are going to look at the next area or the next domain where we are going to cultivate our awareness. And in the text, it looks like just 1 or 2 paragraphs on Vedana, or what is called the feelings. But if we look at it, but if we look at it and study it deeply, we begin to see that that this particular section has got a lot to study, a lot to understand, because that's, if we do not understand the sensation, we do not understand how the suffering or the dukkha comes into existence. So the nature of the feelings is related to the suffering itself. And we are going to look at how the various ranges of suffering of sensation, Vedana, causes us the leads to suffering. So, let's look at the word, the feeling, or as the technical word that I have given to you in the previous classes, Vedana. Vedyati iti Vedana. It's called like, something that you feel, something that you have a sensation of, isn't it? So how does this sensation takes place? If we look at our eyes, if we look at our ears, if we look at our nose, if we look at our mouths, our body, and the mind. So these are the 6 bases of the experience. Without these 6 organs, we cannot experience. So technically, they are called the 6 bases of experience, of sensation. So what happens when our eyes come in contact with form out there? It gives rise to Vedana, or sensation, or feeling, isn't it? If our ears comes in contact with a sound, and the contact is a very technical word that we are going to look at afterwards, the sensations arise. And this sensation has a tendency to shape our minds. Because whatever sensations, whatever feelings we have, because of this contact of the 6 bases of experience and the objects up there, these feelings give rise to the entire range of the sensations or feelings or emotions that we feel. And the Buddha is asking us to be mindful of these sensations. So as I began with that, the Vedanas condition our emotions. So for example, now let's look at this very practically, that if we are having a sensation in our mind or a feeling of our mind, and we do feel pleasant about it. So if we feel pleasant about the objects of senses or the feelings or the thoughts in mind, if we feel pleasant or pleasant, what happens? We crave for that. We want it. We want to indulge into that sensual object. And that gives rise to a very powerful destructive emotion, which is known as raga. Now, this technical word, I would like you to note down and keep in your mind as to how the emotion of raga arises. Raga means greed. It means indulgence of mind into something. Why would our mind indulge into something? Because it finds that object, that thought pleasant. So whenever we find something pleasant, we would like to just want it because we would like to get indulged into that. So we have what is called the pleasant sensation. Sukha Vedana. In Indian languages, it's called Sukha Vedana. If we contact the sense objects and it gives rise to the sensation of the unpleasant sensation or the painful sensation, then what happens? We would like to push that object away from us, isn't it? If we don't like something, then we would like to push. We will get irritated. We will feel, if we don't like it so much, then it might give rise to what is called a hatred, the great anger. Therefore, this unpleasant sensation gives rise to the emotions of what is called the dvesha or dosa. So, raga, because our minds want to indulge into something because it's pleasant. Dosha, because this sensation is unpleasant, it's a painful sensation, we would like to push it. We'll have to push away. And when we want to push away strongly, it gives rise to the destructive emotion of dosha, or ultimately in English, we can call it hatred. So you note these 2 points. One is that the indulgence of our mind, because the sensation or feeling is pleasant, it gives rise to what is called the raga or indulgence, craving. We would like to have that experience repeated again and again and again and again and again. If our 6 bases of experience and the object up there, if they come in contact, and if the sensation or the feeling is painful or unpleasant, we would like to push it away. And when we like to push it hard, it gives rise to a destructive emotion of what is called the dosa or dvesha. And in English, it will be called the hatred. But sometimes when our 6 bases of experience and the object up there, they come in contact, there is no feeling of pleasure or no feeling of non-pleasure. That is called the neutral feeling. And when we have this neutral feeling, there is no energy. When we have a neutral feeling, it gives rise to what is called the stupidity or ignorance. And in traditional, technical parlance, it's called moha. So I would like you to commit these 3 words to your memory: raga, dosa, and moha. Because these 3 words are going to help us to understand when we study further, because that's how these are called the 3 poisons or 3 coverings of the mind. They cover our mind: raga, dvesha, and moha. And they are all related to the sensation, to the feelings that we have when our six bases of experience come in contact with the object out there. So I think this is very clear to you in terms of Vedana. And when we have the mindfulness of Vedana or feelings, we have to bear this sort of framework in our mind as to what we are going to be mindful of. Now, the Vedana as such are bodily, related to body and related to mind. So we know that sometimes our bodies are full of painful sensations. Sometimes our bodies are full of pleasant sensations. Sometimes our bodies are having neutral sensations. So what we do when we meditate, when we scan our body, so while we scan our body, please also try to note down the various sensations in the body. Some part of your body might be feeling pleasant. Some part of your body might be feeling, unpleasant. Some part of your body might be having the neutral feelings. Okay, so that's how when you scan your body when you sit for meditation, just scan once from the the sole of your feet all the way up to your head. When you scan your body mindfully, just try to note in your body where are you feeling the painful sensations, where are you feeling the unpleasant sensations, where are you feeling the neutral sensations. So please note it down. Please try to be mindful of the feelings in the body. So based on the body, there are three kinds of feelings which are related to body: the pleasant feeling, the unpleasant feeling, and the neutral feelings. Now, similarly with mind, also there are three kinds of feeling. Sometimes in our mind, we feel very much anguished. Sometimes we feel joy. Sometimes we have a neutral feelings. So on the level of mind also, we have all these feelings that, that are there, and we have to cultivate the awareness or the mindfulness of the feelings, or what we call the Vedana Nupassana. Okay, so in a minute, let me write down what has been asked to me. I will write down here, raga. Raga means indulgence or craving for sensuality. Okay, please note it down. Raga means indulgence of mind. Indulgence of mind and craving for sensuality. Sensuality. Okay, dosa means pushing the objects away, means hatred. And moha means ignorance, stupidity. Okay, so when we try to cultivate the awareness of Vedana, first of all, when we follow our usual way of meditation, we follow the counting of breathing, following the breathing, establishing the awareness, and then we begin to scan the body. We begin to concentrate on some part of the body, and then we also begin to become aware of the Vedana or feeling sensations. So let me read it, and while I read it, I will try to comment on what are the essential points. So the feeling, Vedana, and how, O monks, a monk observes his feeling as it is. Now you see, this word looks very simple, but you have to bear in mind, feeling as it is, body as it is. So you have to experience as it is. You don't glamorize it, you don't romanticize it, you don't try to do anything with it. You just try to know it as it is, just like in the case of body, we try to do. We try to observe the body as it is. Just like that, we have to observe the feeling as it is. Very, very important point. 4 words, but very important. Feeling as it is. So please observe your feelings as it is. How do I feel? Do I have a pleasant sensation? Do I have a painful sensation? Do I have a neutral sensation or neutral feeling, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. Please observe like this as it is. And we have only three feelings. There is no other feeling. If you look at our mind, it's either feeling pleasant or unpleasant or neutral feeling. There is no fourth feeling, isn't it? And I told you how the feelings arises by our contact with the external objects. So here, oh monks, when a monk senses a pleasant sensation, he knows this is pleasant sensation. So as I told you, when we are scanning our body mindfully, we know, this is the pleasant sensation in my feet. This is the unpleasant sensation in my hands. Isn't it? So when you scan your body, when we meditate, then this is a pleasant sensation. Feeling a painful sensation, he knows this is a painful sensation. Sensing neither pleasant nor painful sensation, he knows this is neither pleasant nor painful sensation. Okay. So this we have to understand. This is on the level of observing the sensation. Sensing pleasant sensation in the bodily touch, he knows this is pleasant bodily touch. Sensing painful bodily touch, he knows this is painful bodily touch. Thus he senses into feeling, observes feeling internally. So we have internal feelings, and we all know that we have a lot of internal feelings. Sometimes we feel sad for nothing. Sometimes we feel pleasant for nothing. Isn't it? Sometimes the external things are unpleasant to us. Sometimes the external experiences, external objects are unpleasant to us. Sometimes they are pleasant to us. Sometimes they are neutral to us, isn't it? So he senses into feeling, observes feeling internally. He senses feeling, observes feeling externally. He senses feelings internally and externally. He senses into the feeling that has appeared. He senses into the feeling that has ceased. He focuses just sufficiently for insight and observation of feeling. He detaches and does not take up anything in this world. Just so, O monks, a monk senses and observes the feeling. A paragraph, but very dense, and we need to really unpack it very well. So whatever feelings that we sense, we have to observe them as it is. So the first principle that you have to keep in mind, that you have to observe it as it is. Okay, so how do I feel? How does that particular part feel? How does I feel in my mind? Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Only three things. How is my body feeling? Isn't it? And we observe that sometimes internal feelings are there. Sometimes the feelings are so overwhelming that we just get carried away by those feelings. Sometimes the feeling of pleasure is so much overwhelming that we get carried away by it. Sometimes we are so stupid and so ignorant that we just accept everything blindly. Isn't it? So this area we have to think very carefully. And how do we observe sensation and feeling? When they arise, we observe them. And when they disappear, we observe them. So we observe, we are mindful of the arising of the feelings and the cessation of the feelings. Because whatever feelings arise, whatever sensation arise, they arise and pass away. Please bear this characteristic of feeling or anything in your mind, that whatever arises passes away. Isn't it? It's same. Same is the true for the what is called the feelings. The feelings arise, and when they are arising, we have to be mindful. Now the feelings are arising. When they pass away, they cease. We are aware, mindful that this the feelings have ceased. So, as I told you, that the characteristic of body's impurity, the nature of the feeling is to produce dukkha or suffering. So this is the point about it, because the nirvana is called the mahasukha. And suffering, dukkha. And the end of the suffering is the teaching of the Buddha. So how do we seek the end of the suffering? That's a very important point. So first of all, we have to see how the suffering arises. Because cause and effect, if the suffering arises, there is a cause to the suffering. When the suffering ceases, there is a cause and condition for the cessation of suffering. So 4 things I would like you to write down, because these things are going to helpful in the future classes. 1, dukkha, suffering. Please write it down, dukkha. Then the cause or the conditions for the dukkha to arise, that is called the dukkha samudaya. And the cessation of suffering, which is called the dukkha nirodha. I will write it down for the people who are not from India. And then the 4th is, there is a path to the cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. So I'm going to write it down. Please don't worry about it. I'm going to write it in the group. So please do not worry about the words, but just keep in mind that how does the suffering arise? We are going to look at it, because the feelings or sensation gives rise to suffering. So this craving for pleasant things, the craving for pleasure, the craving for the pleasant objects is the root cause of the suffering. Because of the ignorance, we don't understand the impermanence of the world. We don't understand that whatever we are trying to hold as a pure is basically impure. Whatever we are trying to hold onto something as concrete, never changing, it's changing all the time. Because we do not understand the nature of the world and our own nature, we hold on to something. And if that object or that sensation is pleasurable, then we run around it. We try to get it. We become thirsty for it. And that thirst is called craving, tanha. When we are thirsty, how do we feel? We just want it. Isn't it? So because of not understanding the nature of what's up there, we become thirsty for something. We crave for something. We just want it because it is so pleasant. It gives us so much pleasure. So when we want something and we have it, then after that time the sensation of pleasure just go away. But then again, because of the conditioning that our mind is having, that recur again and again and again and again and again and again. So we want it again and again. The more we do it again and again and again and again and again, it conditions our mind. That because we get locked up in a cyclic pattern. And the more we do it, the more we get conditioned by it. Isn't it? Therefore, we have to understand that the craving after the pleasant sensation is the cause of the dukkha. But if we understand the way it is, we don't hold on to anything. We just let it go. And when we let it go, we do not suffer. There is no dukkha. But that's not easy. It is very easy to say that done. We have to do a lot of practice. We have to understand. We have to cultivate vipassana. We have to see the way it is. Just like what we have done in case of the body. We have observed the body as it is, and we have seen that, the body is full of impurities. Then we have seen what happens to the body after death. So even when we cultivate awareness like that, our attachment to the body reduces down. We do not cling to something so much. Isn't it? So please understand this very well, that the sensations are the cause of suffering. How? Because if we crave for something pleasant, then what happens? That, it's basically the experience is going to be dissatisfied. Because after we consume it, again, we are going to feel thirsty. We want it again and again and again. If we do not want something, then we try to just push it away. We are irritated. We are angry. We are full of hatred. We want to destroy that object. Isn't it? That is the root cause of violence in the world. And we have seen, we all have experienced how our anger has led us to suffer. Isn't it? Sometimes we are angry. Sometimes we act in a way full of hatred. Sometimes we are irritated. And when we act on that basis of irritation, hatred, and anger, what happens to us? We suffer. And sometimes we are stupid. We don't know what's going on. Because we don't see the way it is. Because we don't see the way it is, we don't understand what it really is. And because of not understanding what it really is, we act in the stupid ways. And when we act in the stupid ways, we all have experience of that. Then, we suffer. There is a beautiful example, just like, in the dark, you see something hanging. You think that it's a rope and you hold it. But upon holding it, you realize that it's not a rope, it's a snake. Isn't it? So this is what happens to us all the time because of under the influence of Vedana, under the influence of feeling and sensation, our minds go haywire, our minds go crazy. Now, there is something that I would like to talk to you about is that sometimes when we meditate, so we have a very joyful mind. It's a byproduct of our meditation practice. Very, very joyful mind. Sometimes our bodies are full of pleasant sensations. Sometimes our minds are full of joy. But if you get just caught up there in that state of mind, then you will not make any progress. That will lead to the further suffering. Isn't it? So as Dhyanacharya Nagajiva says, that don't hold on even to the joy. There is a joy, okay. Just note it, let it go. Just go further. Just concentrate on your breathing. Just focus your mind on the singular sensation. Isn't it? So, when you practice meditation, when your meditation is going all right, your body is very stable, your breathing is very fine, your mind is concentrated, that time you definitely experience various degrees of joy and pleasure. And they are the outcomes of your meditation practice. But that's not the goal of your meditation. The goal of our meditation is not to seek the joyful state, but to release from the suffering. So, let me recapitulate that this second domain where we are going to cultivate the awareness or mindfulness or going to pay our attention to is the domain of sensation or Vedana. Okay, or feelings. So we have to, really become aware of how do I feel? How do I feel in my mind? How do I feel in the body? Isn't it? And do not do anything about it. They arise and pass away. Even if there are the painful sensations, they will arise and pass away. But if you try to resist them, then it creates another cycle of sensations and craving. Isn't it? So if there is a sensation and we are trying to push it hard, then it leads to what is called a hatred. So today, please bear in mind the framework that is going to be helpful to us in the future classes. First of all, please understand that we have to observe the feeling as it is. Number one, feeling as it is. And there are feelings in three kinds of feelings. One is the pleasant feeling, Sukha Vedana. Another kind of feeling is the Dukkha Vedana, unpleasant feeling. The third kind of feeling is a neutral feeling, no pleasure, no pain. Okay, the feelings are related to body and the feelings are related to the mind. Okay, so if there are pleasant sensation, then the pleasant sensation gives rise to craving or indulgence of mind into that particular object, which in the traditional Buddhist terminology is called, in the terminology that the Buddha taught, is called raga. Please keep these words in mind because they are going to be helpful to us in the future classes. Raga. When we are trying to push the unpleasant sensation away, it gives rise to what is called the hatred, dosa. And then when there is a neutral feeling, stupidity arises, ignorance arises. So raga, dosha, and moha are the three poisons that we have to remove so that we become pure. And that is the purpose of Satipathan Sutra, to become pure, to obtain the purity of being, isn't it? So please, keep this framework in your mind. And please understand that when we meditate, when the feelings arise, just note them that they are arising. When they cease, just note that they are ceasing. Don't worry whether the feelings are pleasant or unpleasant. Their nature is that they will arise and pass away. They will arise and cease. So arising and the cessation of feelings also you have to observe when you cultivate the awareness or mindfulness of feelings. And as I told you, that feelings are the cause of suffering. Whatever conflicts we see in the world, whatever conflicts we see in the families, wherever we see the suffering, the root cause of that is the feeling sensation. Therefore, we do not, in our tradition, follow any feeling. That's what Dhyanacharya Nagajiva says. Do not follow feelings. They arise and pass away. Do not hanker after them. Do not run after them. Isn't it? And whatever joy arises out of your meditation practices, let it arise and it passes away. Just note it. Just don't become addicted to it. Because getting addicted to even the pleasant feeling is ultimately going to lead us to suffering, as we have seen. Because we want it all the time, again and again. And if we don't get it, we become sad. We suffer. Isn't it? So I think I'm going to stop here today and open up the class for discussion. Please ask anything that you would like to ask, okay? If anybody has anything to ask, please raise your hands and ask.
So, every sutra begin with thus I thought, thus I
Yes.
thus I thought, जैसा कि मैंने सुना है, यहाँ से शुरू होता है अधिकतर, मतलब अभी तक जैसे डायमंड सूत्रा एंड सतीपटान सूत्र.
Okay.
So what is the real meaning of thus I listen, जैसा कि मैंने सुना है?
See, this is just the beginning of any sutra where the Buddha, whoever has heard it, is reporting. So now you have heard it. So you are reporting thus. I am reporting as it is.
As it is. मतलब,
thus means as it is. Evam means as it is.
It is not any kind of feeling with me, my opinion.
No. Evam means thus.
जैसा मैंने सुना.
Yes.
हाँ.
Yes.
Okay. And
yes, Pawanji. I think Pawanji raised a hand.
Yes.
How
So, yeah. So, yeah, you have told us about the raga, dosa, moha. Okay. So, when we are saying that moha is a neutral feeling, so doesn't it mean that, okay, neutral means neither we are taking it as a pleasant or unpleasant? So, doesn't it mean that it is as it is?
No, because it lacks awareness.
Okay.
Because awareness is very critical to know everything. To understand something, you have to have the awareness, sati. Okay. So it's just passivity. So you are accepting everything as it is, as a neutral, as having this feeling is not like, the sati, because sati is not getting attached to anywhere.
Okay.
It has that awareness to it. Okay, that neutrality is on an altogether different level, where we don't attach to anything. This is the stupidity. There is no awareness. There is the blindness. There is no knowledge there. There is no understanding. There is no wisdom there at that level.
Okay.
Isn't it? So we are accepting something without examining it as our senses perceive it.
True.
Okay. So sati is about having the awareness on bringing awareness to everything, even to the pleasant and unpleasant feelings, even to the neutral feelings. Whenever our feelings are neutral, we are tending towards stupidity or towards stupor or towards sleepiness.
Okay.
Then we have to bring the awareness.
Okay. So instead of neutral, we are saying see it as it is.
See it as it is. Yes.
Okay. And apart from that, I just want to ask, when
Please.
we talk about the rag, dvesh, and moha. So in continuation to that, we just say that lob and matsar as well. So does it have any relation with the feelings?
Yes, because you see this raga is also called lobha.
Okay, rag is itself lob.
Lobha, because we are indulging into something.
Okay.
To get indulged into something.
Okay.
Indulgence. The English word for it is sensual indulgence. Our senses are indulging into that, and we crave for that experience again and again because we get a pleasant sensation, isn't it? So raga is lobha.
Okay, so raga is equivalent to lobha.
Lobha, yes. And whatever you say, the competitiveness and all these negative mental states, they are all derivatives of this.
Okay.
Okay, there are like you have jealousy, you have competitiveness, you have small irritations, you have stupid minds, you have all these various range of negative emotions that they are just the derivatives of raga, dvesa, and moha. Okay, this raga, dvesa, and moha are also called the three poisons.
Okay.
So in order to cultivate, if we want to do away from of raga, we cultivate what is called araga, non-attachment. That means sharing. If we want to do away with dosa, we do adosa, means cultivate friendly mind. So when we cultivate friendly mind, it doesn't give rise to the hatred inside us. And in order to work on the moha, we cultivate amoha, that is the knowledge or wisdom.
Okay.
So one way of doing that is contemplating on the impermanence, as we have seen in the past class. And here, like arises and passes away, the feelings arise and cease. The body arises and ceases. The breathing arises and ceases. You see? So, when you understand like this, then, you have the wisdom. You don't get attached anywhere. Isn't it? So that's what, when you work on the moha, you have to cultivate a moha. So when we are cultivating satipatthana practices, we are actually cultivating the mental states which are, like an antidote to these poisons.
Rag, adosh, and amon.
So opposite of that in the Indian languages will be araga, adoso, amoho.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, welcome. Anybody? Yes.
जब फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने विपस्सना में था कई साल पहले, तो देन ये चीजें आई थी समझ में, और फीलिंग्स, मतलब जब मेडिटेट करते थे तो वो फीलिंग्स एक समझ में आती थी, और दैट टाइम आई वाज इन लिटिल बिट डिप्रेशन. तो वो चीज मतलब बड़ा समझ में नहीं आती थी कि क्यों मैं परेशान हूँ, व्हाई आई एम वरीड, एंड ऐसा लगता है जैसे समथिंग एवरीथिंग इज लॉस्ट। बट वो फीलिंग्स जो आज ये बातें हो रही हैं, तो उस समय तो सिर्फ एक निष्कर्ष निकलता था कि ये चीज हो रही है, लेकिन अभी न्यूट्रल जो फीलिंग्स हैं वो अभी मतलब दुख, और जैसे आज भी कोई बात हो जाती है तो वो समझ में आती है, लेकिन कितनी देर में समझ में लगेगा, तो ये कैसे रिलेट कर पाते हैं हम इसको?
देखो, that is why we have to practice, isn't it? So when you have a mental state which is overwhelming, when we cannot deal with it, you go back to the counting of breathing.
Content.
Because counting of breathing is like a medicine. It immediately cuts the contact with the sensual objects and whatever emotions that are there, isn't it? Sometimes it's difficult to count, but you make efforts. Making efforts is very important. The Buddha says the most important thing is making efforts. If we don't make efforts, we are not going to succeed, because ending suffering and experiencing nirvana is not an easy matter.
और एक्सपीरियंस ये भी कहता है कि जब हम ज्यादा फीलिंग्स में आ जाते हैं किसी भी, तो उस टाइम मेडिटेट करना ही बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है, बैठना, काउंट करना, मतलब वो बड़ी
सही बात है, बिल्कुल सही है। उस वक्त क्या करना है, उस वक्त इसलिए उस वक्त अगर हम लोग मान लो अगर हम काउंटिंग नहीं कर सकते तो जस्ट सिट, सिर्फ बैठो।
बैठना तो और डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है।
सूत्र पढ़ो,
यस
सूत्र पढ़ो, एफर्ट्स करो, सूत्र पढ़ो। कोई तुम्हारा अच्छा फ्रेंड है उसके साथ बात करो, डॉक्टर लीम साहब के साथ बात करो।
यस तो मतलब यही है कि जैसे फीलिंग्स आ रहा है, मतलब फीलिंग्स तो आती है तो बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है कई बार मेडिटेट करना, इवन काउंट करना, इवन, बट जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि उसको स्टिल रखो, और शायद यही है। थैंक यू सर।
Look at awareness. Awareness is magical. So when you bring awareness to something, it effects already starts, going down. If we do not bring awareness, then we get caught up in the cyclic nature. So if we have a bad emotion now, unpleasant emotion, which is overwhelming, and if we don't do about it something, then what happens? It again becomes powerful. We get caught up in the cycle. And when we get caught up in the cycle, it becomes so strong that we find it very difficult to come out of it. That's why awareness is such a medicine. That's why
we are every time we are trying to find awareness.
Yes.
Not find, but
see, first of all, even if you are emotionally overwhelmed, you ground your awareness to your body. Because it's not difficult to ground your awareness to body. Okay, just do the small exercise which I'm going to teach you. Just become aware of your body. Just become aware of the way your sole of the feet is touching the floor. Just become aware of that sensation. Okay, just become aware of 5 objects around you now. Okay, just become aware of 4 or 5 sounds around you at this moment.
Okay.
Just become aware of the touch of your cloths on your body. Just bring your awareness to the this fragrance around you. Now, right here. It's not difficult to do.
Yes.
Isn't it? Just become aware of your mental state. Just become aware of that, and you will see automatically the control of the neurotic emotion is reduced down. Awareness has that power. Even if you ground your awareness in your body right now, you will feel it relaxing.
Yes.
Just bring your awareness to the posture of your body, that you are sitting on a chair. You are feeling the touch of your cloth on your body. Just become aware of that. You are becoming aware of whatever is going on in your mouth. You are becoming aware of what you are looking at the screen, surrounding objects, the fan, the table, whatever, the sounds around you, the sounds that you are listening, the other sounds that are around you. So the point is to be here, right here. There is a word in Satipatthana Sutta right here. So we cultivate what is called to be right here. But when we are in the realm of the neurotic desire, we are not right here. Isn't it? Just become aware of the people around you at home. Sometimes we become so much caught up in ourselves that we are not aware of the other person around us.
Yes.
Forget objects. We are not even aware of our family. Awareness is revolutionary. Bringing awareness is magical. The awareness is a medicine. Okay? And you begin to cultivate your awareness by grounding in your body. Your body is so concrete. We can feel your legs. You can feel your hands. You can see 4 or 5 objects around you. Do it right now. Just look at 4 or 5 objects around you. Just try to be quiet, breathe calmly, and try to be aware of the sounds around you. Try to be aware of the touch of certain things. Your feet touching the floor, your claws touching your body. Just, this basic awareness is fundamentally very important. Awareness is medicine. Okay, then I think we are coming to the end of the class. If there are not many questions, we will end our class today. And I request you, as directed by and advised by Kashvi has a question. Kashvi, please.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kashvi.
Actually, sir, I want to ask you that you have told us that moh means ignorance, and ignorance means neutral. And if we go with the Hindi meaning of moh, it means that we are attracted to something or we are attached to something. So neutral and attached, both are opposite words to each other. So what is the exact meaning of moh?
See, Kashvi, we have to see the meaning of the word in the context. Okay. So, for example, the word, as I have told in the past, the word raga in the Indian language is also associated with music, right? Right, Kashvi? The word raga is also associated with music. In the language I speak, Marathi, the raga is actually anger.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Okay. So, moha has changed a lot of connotation, but the basic root of the word moha is mudha. Means stupid, ignorant. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So we have to, that's why I'm saying that's why these classes are important, because we clarify a lot of terminologies and words. Is that okay, Kashvi? Does that answer your question, Kashvi?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So what I would request all of you to please carry on practicing the way Acharya has asked us to practice, maybe twice a day and night. During the day once, in the night once, and read the sutta. You all have the copies of it again and again and again and again and again. Try to understand the meaning very deeply. Try to answer the question for yourself. If you cannot, just pose the question to Dr. Lim. And there is a last question from Dr. Pawan. Dr. Pawan, last question or comment?
Yeah. You were talking about the goal of meditation. So that time, because of internet issue, I could not hear that properly. So can you tell about that goal of meditation?
See, ultimately, if you do something as a goal, then it doesn't work. So you just meditate for the sake of meditation.
Okay.
In some of the teachings, Buddha said just to sit in meditation is to attain nirvana. Okay, it is not easy to practice every day. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, if you practice, then what happens? There is no goal, there is no craving for anything. You just sit for the sake of being aware. So if you have a goal in meditation and if you don't realize the goal, then you become sad. So just like you do your daily activities, just sit, just like you eat, just like you go for exercise or whatever, just like that. It's your way of life to meditate.
Okay. Because what I was thinking, that why we do the meditation, because that gives us the sense of calmness, peace, balance, that can benefit both our emotional and overall health.
Yes. Very true. That meditation has that benefits, but the ultimate benefit is to release from the cycle of suffering. Of course, your mind is going to
very
be
true. Very
calmer.
true.
Of course, you are going to be calm person. You are going to be less angrier. You are going to lose a lot of lust. You are your mind is going to be very stable. That all benefits are there. But the ultimate benefit of meditation is to be free. As we have seen
Very
that,
true.
if you want to be a great man, you should be a free man. And if you want to be a free man or a free human being, you should practice Satipatthana Sutta.
Very true.
Is that all?
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. Particularly, thank you, Manjunath, for hosting this session, and Neha for starting on with the beautiful opening. Thank you all for all the questions, and see you next week.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful teaching on feelings. And here you explain on feelings 3 things: Rag, Dvesh, and Moha, very nicely. So, waiting your next session, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a very nice session. So see you soon in the next session. And thank you all for supporting us this session, and you've given your precious time, Nancy, Fabiola, and all the Shunyatees. So thank you so much. So officially going to wind up the session, and I'll share the YouTube link shortly.